Welcome to Dog Talk. I'm Tracy Hotchner, your dog's best friend, your kitty cat's best friend, and your best friend. The number to call with any of your questions or concerns, any dog or cat questions at all, grooming or training or nutrition or illnesses, is 800-394-8830. That's 800-394-8830. And you are listening to Dog Talk on 88.3. Happy to spend this Saturday morning with you. I have a really wonderful lineup of people that are going to spend time with us. The first is my new co-official trainer of the show. You all know Allison Denley of Pause for Positive Training, who's been on the show and who I've recommended many of you to for your usual training, obedient stuff, problem solving. I have a new wonderful colleague of Allison's whose name is Shawn Stewart. Write down this website, dogsareeasy.com. Shawn's a marvelous trainer, and what I'm going to be turning to him for in the months and years to come is specific heavy-duty problems, particularly aggression. This is one of those issues that I don't think people know how to handle correctly. I think a lot of trainers are intimidated, frightened, and overwhelmed by it, and they don't really know how to cope with dogs who have aggression issues, or even how to determine if that's really an aggression issue or something else. He's quite an extraordinarily accomplished man. He is a professional full-time trainer and has been so for 13 years. Most of his clients are in North Jersey and the Upper West Side of New York City, but he'll go pretty much anywhere if you make it possible for him. He was for 10 years a military police sergeant and served after 9/11 on the Anti-Terror Task Force, during which time he behavior problem solved with military working dogs, which I think should be a whole separate interview. That must be so interesting. And he also breeds German Shepherds, the working lines, the breeding working lines, which is true of many of the trainers that do training for police and military. They often will breed their own dogs because they're breeding for specific characteristics, which I'm sure Shawn will also explain to us. And he had a puppy who just graduated at what sounds to me like an extraordinarily young age, 17 months old just last month, for the Orange County Sheriff's Office Police and Police Patrol and Explosive Detection Department. So he can do anything from that to deal with your crabby little Maltese who seems to bite the UPS guy on the ankle. Shawn, welcome to the show. It is great to have you here.
Hi, Tracy. How are you doing this morning?
Excellent. I'm really, really interested I have so many questions, and I want today to focus on aggression. I think it's a very misunderstood word where dogs are concerned. And I understand from Allison and also from your extensive experience that you've dealt with dogs and dealt with aggression issues. But the first thing I'd love you to do is talk about maybe when people come to you and say, my dog's aggressive, he's a bad dog or an aggressive dog or a mean dog. How do you first figure out whether the dog really is or whether he's being misinterpreted?
I think one of the most important things to do when you come across any behavioral issue with any dog is to evaluate just walking in the home or walking by on the street, the dog plus the owner, and then also taking into consideration the environment, because in that order, that's how you're going to approach your training regimen, your training program, and how you're going to actually create an evaluation that you can work with. So when I walk into a home, I look at what that dog's initial eye contact is with me, body posture. Sound is usually the last thing I concern myself with. And then I look at what the owner's response is. And most times when you walk into an aggressive dog situation, an aggressive home, you're going to find an owner that's tight on the leash, very tense, because they've dealt with the situation before, and they're almost prompting the dog to go into the behavior.
Yes.
Then we have different types of aggression, where you have territorial aggression when you're walking to someone's home. We have possessive aggression, where the dog is not being protective of the person, but being possessive of the person.
Correct. Yep.
I tend to find that for me is the easiest type of aggression to deal with, because I'm dealing more with a people problem in most cases.
Now, to jump ahead, because that's one that I hear about a lot, particularly with small dogs that are kept on people's laps, allowed next to them on the couch or on the bed. My first rule, besides the fact that they need to get a trainer for just the reason you're saying, somebody with your eyes and your instincts to evaluate the big picture, But the first thing I say, and I don't know if it's high on your list, is that dog has to get off your lap and up and down off any up place that the dog
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Not on the bed, not on the couch, none of these superior dominating
Yeah.
kind of positions. On the floor is where the dog needs to be, just for openers. Would you say that's a good beginning in these situations?
Absolutely. Heidi's dominance in the dog world. It's, they look
Interesting.
to she's the higher ground. The higher ground is the advantage.
Yeah, king of the hill kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, talking about physicality, you look like a military policeman. You are a seriously, imposing, impressive-looking man. Do you feel that helps you, or even gives you, in a sense, an advantage with working with dogs that then the people themselves don't necessarily know how to activate? Do you think that your size and your presence, which is a calm presence, it's not a ferocious presence, but it's significant. Do you think that helps you, particularly in these aggressive issues?
Well, you'll appreciate this. The woman that I first learned the world of training from, Louise Auger, she early in my training career knew that I wanted to work aggressive, big, German
Yes.
Shepherds and stuff. So she stuck me with Maltese and, and Shih Tzus to tone me down so that I would. She said, this is going to be where most of your aggression work is, so let's knock you off your high chair right away. And
isn't that interesting?
I think the most important thing is not to go in there, for me, with some predisposed idea of dominance. It's
right.
The idea of walking in there just calm, just like any other visitor in the home would. And everything that I show a client, it has to be transferable. It can't be that because I have strength, upper body strength stuff.
Right.
And 90% of my clients are women, so everything I do is about utilizing. If we need to make any type of physical control or dog, it has to be something that's transferable.
Interesting. Now, would you say that your mentor, if we want to call her that, was right, that a big portion of the calls you get are from people with small dogs that are held in arms too much, the Chihuahuas, the Yorkies, the Maltese, the whatever? Do you find that is a big part of the people whose dogs are now showing hostility?
They're a bigger part, but they're also the first to admit, as soon as you walk in the door, it's almost like they have instant mommy guilt or daddy guilt.
They know it's them.
This.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they want to fix it, but they also don't want to give up the mushy behavior. And my general approach is I'm counter to what Cesar Millan does. Cesar Millan walks in someone's home and immediately tells them what they need to change. I really do. When I said I evaluate the dog, the owner, the environment, I'm not there to change people's lives and change someone's personality. I'm really there to see what we can do with who the person is and who that dog is to make changes that aren't going to completely make the process of training a dog or just owning a dog uncomfortable or miserable.
It really makes sense because, as you said, the emotional component is so strong. So many of us want to have a dog we can hug, we can kiss, we can mush, we can sleep with. And there's no reason that has to be eliminated permanently once you understand that you've given maybe the dog all kinds of permission and ideas that you didn't know you were giving them, right?
No, and it really comes down to just to add one more thing. I've trained under 5 very well accomplished trainers in my career, and one of the most important things I was ever taught is limitation of options. And in aggression cases, it seems to be that if you go there first for the dog, the person, and the environment, limiting all the options in all those areas, immediate success can be had. And I think that there's no magic wand for curing aggression, although a very good, tight management program is the first step in the right direction.
That's a really interesting word. I've never heard that word used in training, and you can well imagine I've read pretty much every book there is out there, because all I can do is hear theory and then know when I've found a wonderful trainer that knows how to put that all together, which is you and Allison, who have both, studied and really studied the craft and the art and the science of what you're doing. Yeah. What I say to people, and I didn't know that that's what I was doing in terms of limiting options, even in a case where a dog jumps up a lot, if you never let the dog jump, if that dog, before they have a chance to jump, has a short leash on or a long leash that you step on, if you don't give them the option to exercise that aggression or that jumping or the unwanted behavior, you're way ahead of the game. And people don't seem to understand that by setting those kind of boundaries that they make life a lot. It's kind of like no-brainer, but no one's really explained that to them.